I'm with Bob Thompson, who is a portfolio manager at Canaccord Genuity. Bob, thank you so much for joining me for the interview.
Great to see you, Rachel. Thank you.
So tell us about your investment strategy and what you're looking for at the conference.
Well, you know, I think it's great, especially right now, to come to conferences like this, because the small cap sector in Canada isn't in favor right now, and this is when you find the bargains. You really find things that you can buy cheap when nobody else is talking about them. So that's what I look for. I look for industries, I look for areas that are growing very rapidly, that are doing well, but people aren't talking about. That's how you get the value.
So you just mentioned that this is a great time for bargains,
right.
But what do you advise for people who have trouble investing at times like this?
Right, I think what you have to do is you just have to remember that the market is there to be a tool. Don't use the market as a guide. And I think that's very important. So when you want to buy something that's good quality and you want to be patient on it, you just go to the market and you buy it, and then you don't worry about the price on a day-to-day basis. Easier said than done, but that's how the successful investors have done it.
Oh, okay. So that's really great information and advice. But are there any other pieces of advice that you'd like to mention for investors?
Sure. I think when you're looking at small companies, especially more than anything else, because it is very challenging. It's a challenging regulatory environment. It's challenging with competition, immense amount of, I guess, leapfrogging of companies along the way. You have to have a management team that's done it before. And if a management team has done it before, they've built another business, even not in the same industry, but they know the whole model of how you do it and how you roll this out, how you get investor interest and how you build a company. That's what's really, really important. And that's, I think, one of the first things you look for is a management team that has experienced and done it before.
And on the flip side, are there any red flags that you'd want to watch out for?
Yeah, you know, a lot of shares outstanding, too many times having to go to the market. Now, I know that's easier said than done. When it's not in favor, it's hard to do, but good quality management teams have access to capital, and they can get that and build a business properly from there.
Like personally at the conference, are there any stories that really stood out for you?
I like the biotech stories because I think independent of what happens to the price of oil or what's happening in China or whatever the case is, biotechnology is going to be an area that really grows and is going to continue to. And I think it's kind of had this dead 10 years in Canada where it hasn't generated a lot of interest. And I think we're on the cusp of investors becoming interested in good companies, and you make a lot of money there.
Right, so tech in general is something that is really growing in the new year. But are there any obstacles that must be overcome for it to be more successful?
I think it's just getting the word out there to investors, because small cap land here in Canada is full of broken resource companies right now, so people don't want to hear small cap ideas. So it's getting the word out there in an industry that people have not paid attention to in a while. But having said that, I think, you know, I don't think there's anything more that makes an investor throw up these days more than mentioning a resource company name. And that's great. I love to invest in companies where other people are throwing up. And that makes them throw up, because that's usually where you find the best value. So although there's not necessarily a lot of resource companies here right now, and I think that's a function of the market, that's really an area that people should be looking at also. Because we are going to need copper, we are going to need oil, we are going to need gold going forward.
Well, Bob, thank you so much for your time.
Great, it was a pleasure to talk to you.
Reporting from the AlphaNorth Capital Conference, I'm Rachel Lee for SmallCapPower.